The United States is no longer united. The West has become an inhospitable scrubland. The East, only a little better, but enough for a few cities to thrive and build walls to keep out the outlanders. To amuse themselves, they hold a televised contest, a combat race with almost no rules. First place, a spot in the cities. Second place, you're lucky if you're still alive. I'm doing a solo playthrough of Death Road's All-Stars. This is with the core box elements only, none of the expansions. I'm going to be doing one vehicle versus one boss and one drone. I've already chosen to go with the Beta Elemento. That's the white car, the white police looking vehicle. It has 9 handling, 8 health. Its bash damage is 2 conditional damages and 1 fire token. And for the fire token in solo, for the bosses, the fire token means that they can only take their default action. So you pull an AI card, but you don't look at it. You don't even turn it face up. You just discard it and do the default action of the driver. These are the cards for it that I've got out. Those are all the driver cards. And I still have to choose weapons. Normally in a solo game, you choose your weapons first, and then the boss gets random weapons left over. But I've actually decided to go the route of choosing or randomly choosing the boss weapons first, and now I'll choose my weapons. So these weapons are no longer available for me to take, so it'll be a little bit harder to deck build, but that's fine. What did they choose? Back 4, mid weapon 8, and mid weapon 3. So I can't choose those. When you choose weapons, you choose sets of weapons. There's front, middle, and back, 2 weapons each. And again, it's a set of 2 weapons, so they go together. Like 2 specific front weapons that go together, 2 specific middle weapons, 2 specific back weapons. In the case of the AI, it doesn't take it in sets. It only just takes one of them because it's just randomly chosen cards. All right, I'm going to try these I have not played with yet. The spike strip and nail them down. You know, the spike strip hits 2 rows behind you all across the board. This can hit 3, but it's a little bit narrower, only 3 across. This does spike strip does 2 damage. Nail them down only does 1 damage, but they both do 2 handling damage and give a veer token. My mid weapons are the hook up and the hook back. They both go 3 in front of me and do 4 damage. One allows me to move forward, the other one pulls the other vehicle back. And we got the left punch, right punch, which has to be next to me. And I can use those to hit at 3 damage and then push. And if hit, I get to do another bash damage. To, I guess, the other side. Yeah, I can do bash damage to a vehicle on the other side. So, not super powerful weaponry. So I'm going to see how that goes. For the bosses, the one boss and the drone, I have already, as I said, selected the weapons randomly. Here's the boss. He's got a plasma trail and an avalanche. That plasma trail does 5 damage. Goes back and 1 row to each side. That's 5 damage and 2 handling. The avalanche, it's kind of funny. They're not a set, but they're kind of similar. It also goes back and with more area damage. can hit in all these different spots. The plasma trail you can only hit 2 targets with it, which is fine because there's only 1 target right now, which would be me. And they both do well, this one does 2 damage, 2 handling. This one does 5 damage, 2 handling. So they both do 2 handling. Then for the drone, you get the single barrel, which shoots off forward diagonally and does 6 damage. So kind of limited in the spaces it can hit, the drone. But 6 damage, so it can do a lot if it can get into the right space. So I'm going to choose the vehicle that each of those gets, and I'm going to choose that randomly. And I pull 1, and that's the boss I'm going to be fighting. All right, what do we got here? The Dyson A2000. That would be the blue vehicle. And the driver is the Berserker type. So he's aggressive, and he's reckless. He'll go into skid mode. He does not do friendly fire. Like if firing the guns will also hurt the drone, he won't do that. I'm shuffling the drone cards right now. And the drone we get is the Roomba. The AI type for him is the Clumsy type. So he's aggressive, he will do friendly fire, and he is reckless. They all get health and handling tokens. I've already done that for my car, but now I'm going to do it for the boss and drone. And players start out in gear 2. The AI boss is on gear 3 and stays 3 through the whole game. It doesn't change. And the drone gets a gear of 1 and stays 1 the whole game. Now the me and the boss get normal 3 armor. A red, a yellow, and a green. And there's an icon on the back of each of these that when the armor gets depleted of a certain layer, goes all the way down, you take off the first armor, it goes back, take off the second, you flip over the top one, and that vehicle gets to do whatever's on the back. The first one is gear up or down, which won't do anything for the boss, but for me, I'm then allowed a free gear up or down. So I lost a whole armor level. It sucks, but I do get to at least gear up or gear down. The second armor, the yellow armor, you get to take a card. Again, for the AI, I won't do anything, but for me, I get to take a card. The third one allows an extra move action, the red armor token. So anybody can do that. The drone gets however much armor you want to give it for what kind of difficulty you want. I guess I'm going to give it a green and a yellow. And when you destroy the drone, it'll probably get respawned again. There's certain cards, AI cards, that will respawn the drones. All right, so we've got that set up. I'm gonna set up the board. First thing is, if there's 2 to 3 players only, and considering there's me and a boss, that's 2 players. So you have to narrow the road a bit. Normally it's like this, but you're gonna close off one of those lanes. And instead of 4 asphalt lanes, there's only 3. So this is the side. This is now just all dead air because the wall that defines the game is right there now. Now the way you do a driver is you take the amount of players, you add 2, and then you choose that many random drivers. In my case, 3, since I'm 1 player. I mean, I could say, well, there's also a boss and go with 4, but he doesn't choose a driver. So I think it's just 3. So I'm going to randomly choose 3 of these driver boards, and then I'm going to choose out of those 3 which one I want to do. So we get 1, 2. I'm not looking either. I don't know what I'm choosing here. 3. So we get the diesel twins. They're kind of designed for the motorcycles, but you can still use them. Simple Bob I've played a lot because he makes it easy to skid in this game. In this game, the skid is like you draw from a random skid deck a bunch of cards that will tell you where to go. So you'll skid around randomly. But Simple Bob can ignore one of those cards. Maynard Elrod, let's see, his special action is each time you play a weapon card, you may perform up or down before or after performing its effect. So that seems pretty good. The Diesel Twins have during your turn, you may perform 2 card actions instead of 1 card action and 1 driver action. Normally during your turn, you can do 1 driver and one card action, or you can just do one of those. You don't have to do 2. But in this case, if you want to, you can do 2 card actions. So that's also a pretty good one. I think I'll go with Maynard here. For the solo game, the players have to go in this row, one above the far behind line. So the AI is going to choose the centermost as usual. So I'm going to go there. That'll put the boss here. Again, he tries to be in the center generally. And for the drone, I've got this vehicle from the board game Thunder Road. Their miniatures are kind of smaller, so I think it works well as a drone miniature. So I'm going to put that down there. So that's the board so far. We're all in the line in the center. And here's the cards I'm pulling for my first draw. I got nail them down. There's nobody behind me right now, so that's not too useful. Beam up. You start off in second gear, so that's good for gearing up. Hook up. Ooh, that's good for me. There's 2 cards in front of me. I can hit the drone and move forward, which would bash into the drone. Quick switch, which would allow me to gear up twice on the one I am and move up. That's pretty good. Right punch. So if I get to the left of the vehicles, I can nail one of them. Is that 5? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Yes, it is. Go. I should put out the initiative tokens. The way that works is at the beginning of each round, you put them out in the order of who is ever first, second, or third. And if people are tied, it goes to whoever's highest gear. And if that's tied, it's whoever had initiative in the last turn. So the Dyson, the boss, is first. He's gonna go first place there. Then we got the Roomba, second. And then we got my car, the Beta Elemento. It's gonna go there in third. Then you do the preparation phase, which is the draw the cards, which I already did for that. Reveal event phase. So for this first turn, we reveal whatever's gonna be happening on the first turn. We got an oily surface. Draw a lane card. Lane cards being, you have, it's basically just a 3-sided die in this case. If it was 4 asphalt lanes, it'd be a 4-sided. And it just says what lane this happens on. In my case, it's going to be lane 2 for this first event. In the resolve event phase, each vehicle on the lane that matches the lane card suffers 3 veer tokens, which is like a skid. You have to pull 3 skid cards and do whatever they say. So that's going to be at the end of the round, and if you're on that lane right there, you're going to hit 3 of those veer tokens. I'll leave that out so I know what to do. Then you have the race phase. This is the main portion of the game. And it starts out with the AI because the AI has initiative right now. He's in first place. See what happens for him. All right. He pulled the AI for the dart rodent. So the dart rodent's not a boss, but that would mean the dart would take over. It doesn't. So most of the time for these AI cards, you go straight down here to the bottom section. And what it's telling me is he's gonna try and just use his weapon and he'll have a handling cost. That's that number. The X means you just use whatever handling the weapon has. I don't think he can hit me with, no. He's not going to do that action because he can only hit to the sides and behind. He can't hit directly behind me. So what that means is then he will try to do his default action. His default action is right there. The signature action is if the special signature icon comes up, which is a star. But it did not. It came up with this one, which is the normal one. He can't do it. So now we're going to move to the default. And first he's going to move and then do his weapon. The move is optional to try and put him into position to use the weapon. And he can definitely do that. And he's going to freaking hit me hard because he's going to hit me with both his weapons because they're both going to be in range. He can move forward, back, left, or right. He's going to go here because it's more center, even though technically it's not more centered because there's 3. It's more to the center line. So I think he would go there. And he's going to hit me with both weapons. So he'll pay the cost of the highest weapon. They're both 3. So he'll go down 3. 1, 2, 3. He goes from 8 to 5 in handling. He's shooting me from this car down. He's going to hit me with both a plasma trail down here and an avalanche. And that's not going to be pretty. That's going to do... You resolve, I believe, each weapon in turn. So first he'll do like 5 damage to me and 2 in handling. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I'm down to 4. Is that right? 1, 2, 3. No, down to 3. Let's see, right? And then 2 handling. I go from 9 handling down to 7. Now he hits me with the avalanche, and the avalanche does 2 damage. 1, 2. So I haven't even done anything yet, and my first armor's almost already gone. This might not be such a good game. And then he does 2 in handling. Now my round is over when your handling gets down to below 1. So that's what's hurting me there. Anyway, his turn is now up. Oh, and there's the drone. This is a card with the drone spawn icon. So yeah, if the drone was not on the board anymore, because let's say I destroyed it, it would now respawn. It's already on the board, so it's now gonna do an extra hit of damage to me. So it hits me for 1 damage. If there were 2 drones, you would do 2 damage, and so on. I'm playing 1, hits me with 1, but now knocks my health all the way down. So my health goes back to 8, and I lose 1 armor token. The armor token I flip over, the one good thing I get out of it is now on this green one I can gear up or down, so I'm going to gear up to 3. Oh, I have not even played yet, and I've already lost an armor. This is not going to go well for me, I don't think. The bad guy is in the oil section, so that's interesting. Anyway, the drone is now up. Pull a drone card. Or an AI card, I should say. That gets the high roller is the special vehicle, which is not on the board. And his action is he's going to be cost 2 in handling. So the handling, the drone's only at 3, so it's going to go down to 1. And it's just going to try to move. What is he? He is aggressive. So the first thing he's going to try and do in any move action is to bash me. So, and he's right in front of me. He can move in any direction. 1, so boom. He is going to go knock into me. And when that happens, he hits me, but everybody stays in position. So if there's no push icon with the move, it just means everybody stays in position during a bash, which is the case here. Now, that's going to cost me 1 health, and I'm going to have to take a veer token. This is our bash damage area. Oh, man. Here's our veer token. 1 damage. All right, and that's the end of the AI for the drone. This is not going well. I had a veer token, which meant I needed to pull a skid card. All right. Well, gear down. It's the first thing I gotta do. So I'm gonna move to the left over here. Well, I'm gonna veer. I'm gonna quick switch. This will be my first action. It costs 2 in handling. 1, 2. And it allows me to move forward. 1. And I can gear up 2. So I'm gonna gear up to 4. That is my card action. I can do a driver action. That driver action can be inner peace. I can get a health back and discard a card and take a new card. Sort of cycle through them. I can gear up or down twice there with Gears of War. Flanking looks interesting. I can bash the drone and then move the other way, which I don't want to do. That'll put me into the dirt lane, which will move me back 1. Do I have to move back? Yeah, I do. If I play flanking, I'm going to end up in the dirt, even though I'll bash him. Oh, that's not true. I can just play the bottom part where I bash nobody here and then just attempt to move. So maybe I could do that. There's no move forward on the driver actions for Maynard. So that kind of sucks. You know, I'm going to do that. I think I will do the flanking. I have to discard 1 card. Should be nail him down. It's going to be a bit till I can do the nail him down, which is behind me. So I'm going to discard that. Costs 1 in handling, so I'm down to 2 handling. And I'm going to do flanking. I'm going to first bash to the left. There's nobody to the left of me. Then I'm going to try to move to the right. But there's a vehicle right there. There's the drone, so I'm going to be bashing into the drone, which will do 2 damage to him. And 1 burn token. So he's going to be skidding for his next turn. And that is it. It goes back to the Dyson. The Dyson pulls an AI card. And here we have the signature move of the vehicle. X meaning you use whatever weapon has its handling. And the default the signature move for him is keep your enemies close. Use move once and then move again to move towards the player with the least armor tokens, which will always be me. And earlier on the initiative track of time, bash if possible. And then he uses his weapon. So he's going to try and get in the position to use his weapons. But if he can get into position, he can. No, he can't bash me. 1, 2, because he can only move 2. He can only get far enough to use his weapons. So he'll move back here. This is going to cost him 3 in handling. He's going to use his weapons, which is going to freaking destroy me again. All right, 5 damage, 2 handling. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 2 in handling, 1, 2, which puts me into skid. So on my turn, I'll now have to skid. I can't even play any actions. All right, this is not going well for me. Not going well at all. Now he'll use his avalanche, which does 2 damage, which knocks out another armor token. Although in this case, I get to take a card as the action that you get for losing an armor. Mine is, I just picked up Rewire, which allows me some gearing up, some taking new cards. I still got to lose 2 more in handling. 1, 2. Now, there's something in this game called trophies, which for the solo game I don't think comes into play. But for multiplayer, if you knock out somebody's armor token and it's your turn, you get that armor token. So that's now a trophy, and that might potentially come into play again, if it may come into play if you're doing multiplayer. I don't think it matters for solo. So I think he'd also have my green one. But again, I don't think that matters. It is now the drone's turn. And the drone has the burn token, so the drone card pulls a card. It said you'd pull the AI card, but you don't reveal it. Instead, you just take the default action. So the default action for the clumsy type is he's gonna skid. He's in, the drone always is gear 1, so he might skid to the left and do bash damage. Let's see what he does. Ah, he skids to the left. Man, this is not my game. Not supposed to look at that card, so let's put it at the bottom. He gears down, which is meaningless for the AI because the AI drone is always in gear 1. And then he moves to the left, so he bashes me. So that worked out for him. He does 1 damage to me. And 1 veer token. Now, what did that cost him? He's reckless. So he will go into skid, which is what's going to happen here, because his handling is going to go down 2 for that maneuver. It is my turn. And my turn is going to be skidding. Here's what's going to happen now. When you start off your turn, and your handling is below 1, you don't get to play any actions. The first thing you do is you have to resolve any tokens you do have. In my case, I have a veer token. So a veer token is, for each veer token, you have to do 1 skid card. So I'm going to pull that off, see what my first card does. Oh, my first card, and I move down and take another damage. Now, because I look at where my handling is at 2 stun tokens down. So I have to take these 2 stun tokens, which will be resolved in the future. The handling moves off the track to show that my round is over, and I will not be taking any more actions in the round. My gear is on 4. That means I have to pull 4 skid cards. If your gear was 5, you do 5. If your gear was only gear 1, so you're moving a little slower, you're more in control, you take 1 skid card. Me, because I geared up, I'm going to have to be doing this 4 times. So here we go. 1. Actually, I'm not going to put it there. They're nice and big anyway. 1, move down. Oh, and I might go below where the board is. That's no good. Let's find out. 2. I take 2 more damage. Down to 4. This is going to be a short game. 3, I move down and take 1 damage. Well, here's what happens. I move down. That's the first thing that happens. So I'm off the board. And when that happens, first off, if you have any more skid cards, you don't play anymore. You don't need to take any more skid cards. What happens is you take 3 damage, and you can put yourself back on any of these that you choose to. So I am going to I have to take the 3. 1, 2, 3. And that sucks because there's going to be 1 more damage, which I'm going to have to take. I'll go behind. All right, so now I have to take the 1 conditional damage. I believe I still have to do that. So that's going to knock that out. 1 last armor. And because this armor token was taken on my turn, it doesn't become a trophy of anybody. But it allows me to get a free move. So I'm going to move up right there. And my skid is over. And actually, the round is over for me. But the Dyson is now up. He's at a handling of 2. So he can still go. He still has maneuvers he can take. Let's see what he does. Okay, the Dyson took his own card. As you can see, it's the Dyson A2000 right there, which means instead of doing these bottom actions, which is what normally happens, he'll take his special action at the top. If this was the drone's turn that I pulled this card on, the drone would not actually take its turn at all. Dyson would take it. So the Dyson would have taken his first turn, then the drone would have come up, and the Dyson would have gone again with his special action that appears up there. The drone, I mean the boss has this reckless symbol right there, which means he will happily, if the action causes him to go into skid mode, he'll do it anyway. If he didn't have that, he's more cautious. And a handling of 3 would knock him down into skid mode. So he wouldn't even take that action because he does not want to go into skid. But he's Berserker. Berserker is reckless, so he will skid. He will happily go into that mode. So the cost is 3 handling, 1, 2, 3. Now he can move left or right, either 1 space or 2 spaces. Move left or right again, and then move up or down. He has the aggressive personality, which means he will try to hit me. He will do what he can to bash me, but in this case, he can't bash me. So let me see what the AI says about this. Aggressive only. When moving, AI will try to satisfy the highest possible priority. Aggressive only. Bash a player's vehicle or at least move towards the closest player's vehicle. So he can get closer to me. So he'll try that. He'll go 1, 2, which will put him in the dirt, and then he'll move 1 back, which will put him in there. I'm putting him in the center, even though it's the bad lane to be in, because AI characters basically ignore the road events. I mean, they don't ignore the effects of the road events, but they ignore it for deciding what they will do. If they just happen to be in it, they just happen to be in it. Then he'll move back 1. That'll get him closer to me. Also put me in danger of his weapons. Anyway, his turn is over. We go to the Roomba. The Roomba's in skid mode. What he's gonna do is he has to take 1 stun token. You know, there's no status effects for him to apply, but he's there. He'll take the 1 stone token. His handling is gonna go off. And when you do that too, you're supposed to pull their thing off so you remember their round's done. And he's in gear 1. So he has to do a skid, but he's only gonna pull 1 skid card. And he moves down and bashes me. Jeez. Man, every time he skids, bashes me. So that does 1 damage and 1 veer token. Yeah. I do not think I'm gonna live through this game. That's it for the round for the Roomba. It's it for the round for me. So it comes back to me. I don't have a turn, so it goes back to the Dyson. The Dyson is in skid mode. So he's not gonna do anything, he's just gonna skid. So he has no tokens to apply, nothing will happen there. This goes off, he gets the 1 stun token, and he is in gear 3. So he's gonna skid 3 times. Hopefully, if I'm lucky, he'll skid into the drone and knock out some health on the drone. Let's find out. He doesn't. He moves closer to me. He might end up bashing into me. The way this game's going, that's probably be what's happened. Oh, he goes down another 1, 2. He's got 1 more card. Oh, he goes off the board. Finally, some good stuff for me. He goes off the board. He gets 3 damage. 1, 2, 3. He gets that damage. For where would he pick up? He'd probably pick up right behind me, because that's the more centrally located part of the board, which they like to be. And that is it for this first round. Did not go well for me. We go to the resolve event phase, which is anybody here in this lane right here would get 3 veer tokens, but nobody's in that lane, so it doesn't matter. So now we move on to the next round. The initiative phase. It's now the drone is first, then it's me, then it's the Dyson. Preparation phase, which means I get to pull 5 cards. I get 5 cards. I can discard any cards I have. So I can either just draw 1 card, or I can discard a card. I'm going to discard the rewire. My gear's strength is already pretty good. All right, we got the hook back, which is another one that fires right directly in front of me, and turn them down. Turn them down looks interesting. It's a lot of like left-right moves. And if you'll notice, there's like a little narrow arrow that goes down. That means if you bash somebody on that action, instead of moving, if you bash them, you can push them down one space. That's the prep phase, reveal event phase. All right, reveal the whatever's coming up next, and it's road divider. In the reveal event phase, that's the phase we're in. Place barrier tokens on the marked spots between middle lanes, and in case of odd number of lanes, between the middle lane and the lane to its left. Until the end of this round, these barrier tokens function like the barriers on the sides of the board. Man, so it's another, if you bash people into that, that's more damage that they're going to take. I guess I'm going to put down armor tokens for that. This is like a barrier right now. So currently we're now stuck in this area here. We have 3 lanes. These 2 lanes are now out of the game for this round. All right, now becomes the race phase, and the drone is up first. The drone has a stun token. Oh, also in the prep phase, I forgot, everybody's handling goes back to their full amount. The drone has 1 stun token, so what happens there is his handling goes down by 1. Then he's going to pull his AI, and his AI is, oh, there's a drone spawn, so we're going to take some damage for that. The special action is for the Beta Elemento. That's my car, so that actually does, even though that's in the game, it does not come into play. So we do the normal bottom one, which is he's going to use his weapons if he can. And no, he's not in position to use his weapons, so that's not going to happen. Instead, it's going to go to his default action, and his default action is to skid. The drone is always on gear 1, so the drone always pulls 1 skid card. So what happens? Aha! This is the 3rd time, and boom, yes, he hits me again. He only pulls 1 card, and every time it's been the card to bash me. Man. There, these guys are destroying me. So I'm going to take 1 damage for the bash, and 1 veer token for the bash. He's going to see, still has to take 1 damage himself for that. He's now down to 1. Now, this card, drone spawn card, drone's already on the board, so there's none spawn, and I get 1 more damage. I'm down to 5. That's it. I have 5 health. I predict I will not even make it to the end of this round. This is only the 2nd round. Man, this game can be brutal. I've had some fairly easy solo games, but I've had a lot of these fairly hard, really hard ones too. I have got a ton of tokens here. I'll do my veer tokens first. I got 2 veer tokens. I have to pull 2 veer cards, 2 skid cards. Down. All right. Well, we bashed the boss. That was good for me. That gives the boss 2 damage and 1 burn token. All right. Let's see what comes up next. Oh, that's not good for me. I move to the left. The left hits that barrier divider, which is the special event in this particular round, which means you treat it as if it's the side of the board. And what happens if you hit the side of the board like I just did? You get 3 damage, 2 handling goes down. 1, 2, 3. I'm down to 2 health. 2 in handling moves me down to 7. All right, well, now I got these 2 stun tokens. What happens with those is I can either, just as I showed on the drone, move my handling down by 2, the amount of stuns I have. Or I can focus. And focus is, I just basically give up on this turn. To do that though, I do also have to discard a card. I don't know if I'll do that. I don't think I'm so close to my health being out. I'm worried that if I do that, I'm going to end up screwed. I'm kind of screwed anyway. I'm going to take the 2 stun tokens and just move my handling down. And I'm going to use the hookup. That's what I'm going to do. That's going to cost me 3 in handling. 1, 2, 3. I'm down to 2. My round's almost over. And I'm going to do 4 damage to the Roomba. Oh, man. That means... The thing is, all I needed was 1 more damage, so... All that extra 4 damage is gone. He loses 1 armor token, which I would gain as a trophy. Doesn't really matter for this game so much, for the solo game. And what else? Oh yeah, if hit, I move forward. So now I'm gonna bash him with that forward, which does 2 more damage. 2 gives him a burn token. So he's gonna be skidding. Maybe he'll skid into that wall. That would be good for me. Now, my battle charges each time I play a weapon card. I may perform up or down, move up or move down before or after performing its effects. I actually want to do that to the boss here. Bash the boss. I can do 2 more damage to him. That puts him at 1. And he gets a burn token, which doesn't really matter because more than 1 burn token on the AI boss is kind of meaningless. I can still take a driver action. I only have 2 handling. I'm gonna go with the inner peace. All right, I'm gonna throw away, turn them down. So that gives me 1 health. It doesn't hurt my handling at all. It gives me +1 health. And then I get to take another card. Draw another card, and then I have to discard a card. That doesn't really help me all that much. Reboot. What does that give me? 4. I could take a card. Well, actually allows me to do handling. All right, maybe I'll keep that. But I got to discard a card. I don't know, I may need that. All right. I don't want to get rid of that card, but I just did. It is now the Dyson's turn. The Dyson has, as you can see, a lot of tokens. Burn means the AI card that's drawn will not be used, and instead he'll just go straight to his default action, which will be to bash me and use his weapons. Oh, that's not good. I should have been looking at that and paying more attention, because when he bashes me, that does 2 damage. Oh well. Those 2 are gone, and so it's the 2 burn tokens is basically the same as 1 or 3 or whatever for this boss. The stun token, there's only 1 of. That means 1 handling goes down. And we draw the AI card, but it says not to turn it over. So I'm just going to discard it. And the AI deck will need to be reshuffled here. And he does his default action, which, as I said before, is an optional move. And then he uses his weapons. Now, his optional move could be to bash me. And he's always trying to bash me, but it means he can't use, won't give him into his weapons. But no matter what he does, he can't get into position to use his weapons with just 1 move. So I would say he would bash me. And the interesting thing is here is the handling cost is X, which means the handling cost is whatever the weapons cost is. And since he's not using a weapons, there's actually 0 handling cost. So he'll stay at 7, but he will still be able to bash me. And that does 2 damage and 2 handling. 1, 2. I'm down to 1 health, and I'm now in skid. So I don't even get to take a turn now. Well, I'm doomed. I am doomed. It's now the drone's turn. The drone has a burn token, so the drone will be taking its default action. I'm discarding a card, not looking at it. The default action costs 2. And he will do skid, so he'll go into skid mode to take it. Default action is just skid. So let's hope, I'm gonna hope he bashes into that wall there, gets a move to the left. But he'll probably get a move down as it looks like it's been for the game here. No, he moves to the right. So this guy moves over here. And now that is his whole turn. Now he's gonna skid when his next turn comes up. It is now my turn, and I'm in skid mode. Or I should say the handling's on skid. I don't have any tokens, so that just goes off and I skid. That's it. Now I'm gonna hope I skid down. If I get any, let's see, I'm on gear 4. I have to pull 4 cards. If any of these has conditional damage on it, it's game over for me because I only have 1 health. And I did not even survive a full 2 rounds. Well, here's what happens. I should have done a better job with my weapon selection. I decided to keep it tough on myself. Probably a mistake. Gear down. Move to the left. No, that means I hit the wall. I hit the wall, that does, or the road divider. That does 3 damage, and I am dead. Did not make it very far.